Hey everybody, this is my first time swapping a carburetor in a ATV four-wheeler, but I got it done. Listen to that puppy purr. So go ahead and follow along with me. So first of all, you want to check out your screws, nuts, bolts, take pictures, take videos, figure out where they're coming from, because I guarantee when you take it apart, you're not going to remember where everything went. So this is actually video I took for myself, kind of just looking around the frame, where all the bolts, what kind of heads are on them, uh, kind of mapping out what actually has to come apart. I have to get into the carburetor, so I have to take the seat off. I have to go ahead and take out this ignition. So you just screw off that front plate and it pushes through towards the front of the four-wheeler. So this is a Apollo Commander 200cc Chinese-made four-wheeler. I got it from my brother. It stopped running. It would idle okay, but anytime you hit the gas, it would just die. It's only a 2020. It's 5 years old. It shouldn't be doing that. Apparently, he let the gas sit in it for too long. The carburetor was fouled up. The carburetor's cheap enough. It's only $40, $30 for a new one. So don't rebuild. Just get a new one. See that top metal piece come off, and then the plastic piece underneath it comes off. The screws come from underneath, they come down. So I have to take off this whole plastic body part, okay? I own this. I'm not going to resell it. I'll probably drive this thing into the dirt. To take off the handlebars, to take this plastic body off, I'm not even kidding, would probably take me 3-4 hours. So I go ahead and I'm cutting it off, okay? So I cover it up with some painter's tape, so then when I'm cutting it, hopefully it doesn't chip off the paint as much, and it doesn't crack the body so much. It still chips the paint and it still cracked the body, okay? But it didn't do it as bad as it could have. So I try with a few different things. I go in there with my snippers. That didn't do so good of a job. Then I go in there with my saw. So that's kind of a nice thing with projects like this. I'm not doing it to look pretty. I'm going to own it. I'm the one that has to look at it. So I'm going to take this body off any way I want. So take that. So if you want yours to look pretty, take off the handlebars. If you don't care and you're like me, cut the thing off. Because the handlebars, you have to take up the digital stuff. You got to take all the cables out just to be able to get the handlebars out of the bracket it's in. And no, I'm not going to do that. Not for a $30 carburetor. So here we go. I cut it all the way up. It splits. So I separate it. You have to take the gas cap off. Go ahead and take off the gas cap. So I separate the two parts and I pull it through gently. I end up cracking another little piece of the body off, but at that point I was frustrated and didn't really care. So sue me. So do as I say, not as I do. If you want it to come off clean, take off the handlebars. If you're in a rush like I was and you want to get it done, just yank it off. I don't work on motors all the time. I'm okay with small engines. Matter of fact, after doing this carburetor, I took in my dad's push lawnmower and I replaced the carburetor on that as well. So this is after I took the gas tank off. Now I have access to the carburetor. This is the old one. I couldn't even get the bottom bowl off the carburetor with the gas tank and the body on. So I couldn't even check if there was fouled up gas in there. So these two screws on the top, that's all you need to be able to take that carburetor out. And then the screw on the bottom of that hose clamp. So there's a hose clamp on the front of the carburetor, hose clamp on the back. That's all you need to take out a carburetor, and then disconnecting the fuel lines in the air intakes, vacuum lines they're called. So I bought pretty much the exact same carburetor. I'll put a link in the description below. I got it on Amazon. Again, really cheap, way better than trying to rebuild this thing, new gasket kit, all that. So I'm going to go ahead and take off the hose clamps in the front and back of the carburetor. And I'm going to be showing you a nice trick to this, because the vacuum lines it came with a T nipple. and 2 vacuum lines coming out of it, and I couldn't figure it out for the life of me. So I took out that T, and I ended up running it from the air vacuum line right from the carburetor to somewhere new that the old one was going to. I'll explain it when I get to it, but anyway, it's a good hack if you get confused like I did, because I didn't have, like, I thought I was missing a vacuum line for a minute. So here's the old one. Very important. I kept it intact and hooked up to everything as long as I could. So as I took one thing off, I could put it on my new one, take one thing off, put it on the new one, because I wasn't about to start taking all the stuff off and then put my new one in there and not remember where everything goes. I do not work on motors all the time. I'm a woodworker. I work with meat. I do a lot of DIY stuff, put floors in, do ceilings, make a movie room. When it comes to detailed work like this, I don't trust myself. But this goes to show it can be done by anybody. And literally, if I can do it, you can too. If I brought this ATV into a shop to get this carburetor done, oh my goodness, I wouldn't even, what, 800 bucks, 600 bucks? Your guess is as good as mine. I did it for 30 in maybe 4 or 5 hours. So that's kind of the value of my videos. If you haven't subscribed, do that now. Like, share. If nothing, get a little bit of enjoyment out of these videos. Even if you don't have a Chinese Apollo Commander ATV, then why else are you watching this video, right? No, I'm kidding. You can watch these videos. Just see how much fun it is to work on stuff. And I also had to take the knob off the shifter there to get the body off. There's things I didn't show because I wasn't necessarily going to make a video on this initially. I was just kind of recording things so I could remember how things went if I needed to go back and look, if I couldn't quite figure out where all the bolts went. But I ended up getting enough footage, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and post this video. So I'm taking the throttle cable off, the old one, the way it goes through there and wraps around. This was another thing that I had to kind of put on right away, otherwise I knew I was going to forget how it went on. And I ended up routing it the wrong way initially. I go over the frame instead of under the frame and around the back. I probably edited that part out though. Camera movie magic. Yeah, I probably did edit that out. So still have the new one in my hand. Just kind of trying to eyeball where everything goes. That's the old one in my hand. Gonna reroute it right now. Like I said, for me, it's a lot easier just to take one piece off, put it on the new one. Take another piece off, put it on the new one until you get to a point of no return. I set it in there, attached the hoses to the front and back. And yeah, I mean, it worked. Everything I did, hooked it up just as I took it out and worked perfectly. It's just the vacuum lines kind of threw me off a little bit. Would I do this again? 100% yes. I mean, if this carburetor goes out again, or I did a lawnmower carburetor the 3 days later, pretty much the exact same thing except for a lawnmower. So that's the nice thing. Build yourself up some confidence. And these replacing carburetors is, I'd say, pretty easy. The carburetor I got and the carburetor that I replaced, it has a electronic choke. That's what that black thing is on the top of it there. I didn't even know that was a thing, but make sure if you're buying a new one, it's the right carburetor. So check, double check. And this one even had 2 fuel filters on it. The one it came with had a fuel filter, and then I already had one on the 4-wheeler and the fuel line. So I just kept the new one on the carburetor and kept the old one in, but I replaced the old one with the extra the new one came with. So I got 2 fuel filters. I hope that's okay. It still runs fine, so I don't know. Again, I wish I knew more about engines, but knowing a lot wait a second, knowing a little about a lot, I think is more beneficial. That's what YouTube is for, right? So now I'm trying to figure out where everything goes, where I can tuck all the wires. Now this automatic choke has a clip that's really tight underneath. There's just enough wire to get it to that. Once I set it in place and get it all cinched in there, everything else goes together pretty easy. There's that throttle cable. I ended up having to undo and redo it this way. And that wraps around the back of the, I don't even know what you call that, idler arm, throttle body. But it wraps around the back of that. You actually have to, it's on a spring, so you have to kind of pull the throttle all the way back. That wraps around, and then you set it in place. For things like this, I wish I had a camera person that could kind of zoom in and show you closer on some of this stuff, but I'm a one-man crew for now. Tighten that so it doesn't move out of the way. Then you have to give it slack by pulling that throttle body down, and then you can, it turns and kind of pushes in one side and then slips through the other. I know it doesn't make a lot of sense, but if you ever do this, it will make sense. Have a lot of videos, ideas coming down the pipeline. If you want to hear, now's a good time to kind of start plugging my other stuff. Going to be going up to the cabin up north here in the next few weeks. I have to dig some holes. We ordered 75 trees for our property to put in. 25 white pine, 25 white oak, and 25 red maples. So we're going to be putting those in. I ended up getting some tree protectors, tree growth tubes from a orchard. And so we're going to be, I got to cut out some stakes for those so they don't blow away in the wind. We're going to cover them with those because we're not up there all the time. We'll go up there maybe on the weekends, every other weekend. So make sure deers don't nibble on them or rabbits. You know, you got to protect those saplings. We spent a lot of money on them. So I spent another $130 on tree protectors. So that video will be coming in the next month because we're not going to do that till the first week of May. So here I have the new one in there. We're going to get her running. This is the one that I bought. Again, I'll leave a link below. But purrs like a kitten. This is the vacuum line that I'm talking about. It came with this T in there, this nipple in there, and there's nowhere else to run it. So what I did, so I took the T off, took the extra hose, threw that away, and I just ran it from there. See, that's where the T ran. It just came, it had an extra part running off the side. So I'm just running one through there, take the old one off, and then I just put it right in the front, in front of that hose clamp there. You see that tube? So I take that tube off, and I run the other one going to nothing to that. I talked to my mechanic friend, and he told me to do this, so I trust him, and you can trust me. So I put that tube right on there, and that's your hack. I mean, otherwise, I was trying to wonder, what tube am I missing? Why does this have a T on it? Thought I missed something for a long time. I actually gave it an extra day so I could just think about it. And then after I get this on, you got to put on your tank. You got to connect the fuel line, has your fuel filter on it, put the body on. So, I mean, this is just a little bit past halfway done, right? Because you still got to put everything back together. So check, double check. Make sure you're not missing any screws. Make sure your vacuum lines are attached. Make sure your hose clamps are tight. Because the last thing you want to do is put this all together and it doesn't do what you want it to do. And if you do need to adjust the idles, there is screws on the sides of the carburetor you can access even with the tank on. This will be over soon. So if you hung in there, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Like, subscribe. More videos coming soon. Not just doing this. I'll be putting a carburetor in a lawnmower. I am cutting a video for that too. There you go. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching.